So today we got a question from Christian, who's in a country, I believe it's Norway. He's in a country where he is not able to train because of the lockdowns right now, like a lot of people, right? I'm feeling pretty good today, by the way. I'm feeling pretty chipper. It's we just had like a big ice storm come through, so we had like sheets of ice and snow. And then the way that it is in Louisville, Kentucky, in the Ohio Valley, is it goes from like sub-zero temperatures or whatever, sub-freezing temperatures and ice storms and everything else. And then next week now it's like sunny and 60 degrees outside. But going back to it, see, I'm hyper and I'm having a good day. Anyway, going back to Christian's question, he's curious because lockdown's been in effect and, you know, he's not really sure when everything's going to be open. You know, it's probably going to be in a couple months, but he's wondering, how do I prepare the best way so that this way when the restrictions are done and they're lifted, what's the best way to get ready for that point so when I get back to training, I can just kind of get right back at it? So, Christian, thank you for the question, brother. And man, I chose your question today because just the other day, one of my guys, one of my brown belts, came back for the first time in like almost a year. So he's been gone since last March, and he came back for the very first time about 2 weeks ago. Man, I was so happy to see that guy. Well, it's one of my favorite people, right? It's crazy the bonds that you develop with these people. Like I remember when we first came back from the lockdowns, I literally one night left after one of our classes, and I saw all my buddies again. Like, you know, these guys that are on this wall here, they've been with me for almost over a decade, you know, and I got to see them against all my friends. Like, I went out there and like cried a little bit. I was so happy to see everybody. And so he came back to the gym and I was so pumped to see him. And it was interesting when I saw him because he was actually lighter than when I saw them last. So he actually lost weight during the quarantine, which is kind of opposite to what most people did. He was going on a lot of walks. He was lifting weights regularly, you know, watching what he ate. You know, didn't go down the alcohol bandwagon too bad, you know. And so, again, he kept those things in check while he was waiting to come back. And then when he got back to the mat, there really wasn't a big like dip. I rolled with him. And again, you know, he wasn't able to push the pace or anything yet, right? Like, because again, we don't want to. I want to ease him into it before he gets back to normal. But like as far as moving around pretty well, I mean, he didn't have that big of a lapse, I guess you would say. It wasn't like he went back from brown belt to white belt. It was just he was a little slower to the punch, and you know it was a little funkier for him. And he said that when he got done training that day, he was pretty sore. He said, "Man, I was sore for like 3 days in all those weird places in jiu-jitsu that you get sore in." I remember I had that experience when we came back from the lockdown back last May or whatever, where I'm looking at my toes and I had mat burn for the first time in like a decade, and like I had the sore hips and stuff, all the weird sore muscles that I haven't felt from jiu-jitsu since like I was a kid, you know, or since I was like an early young adult, right? I felt again because that was the longest time I've ever had without grappling ever, right? It was crazy. But anyway, going back to it, he didn't really lose too much. And then he came back in the next week, trained again, and then he trained a couple days later, and he's kind of back on getting into the swing of things. And so again, I tell you that story because I want you, and I've said this before, but understand this, jiu-jitsu is an athletic thing. It's based on movement. Obviously, there's a mental component, but I mean, when it gets down to it, this is the vehicle that's doing everything, right? So everything that you do off the mats contributes to what you do on the mats, even during normal times, right? The way you eat, sleep, how much alcohol you're drinking, because if you're getting messed up on the weekends or something, that's not going to be the best thing for your training. The way that you live is going to directly impact how you roll when you're training and when you're competing, right? So if we understand that, then what we say is we keep these other things in check. The problem, obviously, is that a lot of times because of the feedback from jiu-jitsu, you realize if you eat badly, that when you go train, you're going to pay for it. You realize if you don't take care of yourself off the mat, you're going to pay for it when you train. You're going to get that feedback during rolling. And so that a lot of times that can be the catalyst for staying in shape. So what I would say is find some other activity like lifting weights, maybe riding a bike or whatever it is that you want to do, something that's fun, that's enjoyable, that can give you a physical release and also something to focus on. And then keep your diet in check, keep your healthy lifestyle in check. This way, when you come back to it, your body's in shape. You're still in an athletic shape. So now it's just an easy thing to say, hey body, now we've been lifting weights and riding the bikes and going for walks and all this stuff. Now we're going to do jiu-jitsu again. And the muscle memory will pick up pretty quickly. And again, if you want to think about this just like this, if you had two people coming into the gym for the very first time, right? Let's say one person is in great shape, they eat the right foods and they're healthy, they go for runs and they lift weights and everything else, they're athletic. And we have a person that does nothing, they're a couch potato, 100%. both people obviously can be good at jiu-jitsu. It's going to be an easier road in the beginning for the person that is in shape already, right? So with that said, just keep yourself in shape, keep your body physically healthy, and you'll probably be like my brown belt where, again, the muscle memory will start to kick back in. You'll have to ease yourself back into training. Don't go back to the 5-day-a-week routine or whatever you were doing before. Give yourself some time to rest in between so you don't get an injury coming back too quickly, and then just get back to it. But keep yourself healthy. You'll be fine, Christian. And for anybody else that's still locked down right now, I know it's like, especially over in Europe, like UK and everything else, you guys are still kind of in the fully locked down. So hopefully in the next couple months, you guys can get back to training, and hopefully that video is helpful to you.